Well, I'm just really excited to get going. We go to South Alabama on Thursday morning, and they're going to be a very, very good team. They return 8 starters and one of the best pitchers in the country, so it could be one of our toughest openers yet. I think this is going to be a different type of team. We have the fastest group of athletes we've ever had. There's at least 6, and there's possibly 6 or 7, and she thinks that she could be the 8th green light girl, but I don't think she's going to make it, and it's not her. So 6 girls, they need to get on base, but when they do, they would have the green light. And that's half our hitters, because we have a small roster this year. We only have 12 hitters. And one thing that I learned as the preseason went along was with a small roster, yes, we get a lot of cuts, we get a lot of practice, but we also need to give them a little more rest because there's fewer athletes. So after Saturday, we had a really good practice Saturday morning, and then we had our trivia night with John Kruk on Saturday night, and I gave him the day off Sunday and Monday. So hopefully that'll pay off this weekend because we play 6 games in 4 days.
Questions? Talk a little bit about the schedule as a whole. I mean, obviously it's one of the toughest schedules y'all have ever faced.
Well, I think, you start with Leslie. You have a sophomore in Sydney Littlejohn, and then a freshman, Alexis Osorio. So I really think everybody always says, who's your number 1? And I've never really said out loud, but I think we have 1A, B, and C. I think they could play for anybody and pitch for anybody. The first 2 weekends, obviously, South Alabama is probably the class of that tournament, and then we go to Stanford, which anytime you go to a Pac-12 school, it's going to be a challenge. And then we have Louisiana Lafayette at home, who was in the World Series. And we have Michigan at home February 20th weekend. We have James Madison and Lipscomb, which some people might, but those are 2 really good teams. Both won games at regionals last year. So that 4-team tournament with Michigan, us, Lipscomb, and James Madison could be one of the toughest. Lafayette, and then you start SEC play. And 9 of the 13 are in the top 25, and I think there was 2 more getting votes. And it could be all 13 could get a vote this year. So it's top to bottom, the SEC is probably, I say that every year, but this year, it could be even better.
For both student athletes, tell us about the new pitcher. What do you see in her? What does it mean like?
Alexis, she's very good. She has a lot of spin and great command of the strike zone. She's already pitching like a senior, and she's only a freshman. I tell her all the time that she doesn't look like a freshman out there. She's very composed, and she knows what she's doing, and I think she's going to have a great year.
Yeah, same. She's just a baller. She just goes out there, and she has the same demeanor every time. Even if, someone hits a home run during practice off of her, it's like the same person every time. And that's hard to find because she's so young, but she just takes command on that field and on that mound, and she's just so relaxed, and it brings a calming sense to the field, and it's just great to have something like that out of someone so young. She's going to do awesome this year.
Is there a pressure, do you think, to replace Jackie Trainer for her or anyone else who's pitching out there?
I don't think so. Jackie was an amazing pitcher, but we're all different from her. We all do different things, and we're all just going to try to bring what we can to the table and hopefully just do just as well as she did all 4 years.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that Murph does a great job on bringing certain athletes who have certain gifts and different gifts, and so Jack was a great pitcher, and she is an awesome person, and she's just a baller too, but our pitching staff every year changes. So I think I pride Murph on him having a lot of gifts and talents to come back for what we lose every year.
And I think, it's going to benefit Leslie because they were similar. And we have Leslie who can hit 70, but we have 2 spinners that are opposite of Leslie. And she's had the best preseason she's had in her 4 years here. Sydney's looks good. Alexis is different from Sydney. So you have 3 totally different type of pitchers, and I think it's going to be fun when you mix and match, a Leslie with a Alexis who's really spinny and up and away, and Leslie's been throwing hard in and down. So it's a totally different look, and the team is going to have to adjust immediately, whoever comes in. and then throw Sydney in, who throws, 60 miles an hour, but the ball breaks a foot. It's a really different look.
Coach, you've got quite a few talented newcomers coming in this year. Just kind of talk about what they can add to the team as far as depth, talent.
Well, we have Kerrigan Fain. Her nickname is Crash, so if you guys hear me say Crash, it's Kerrigan. Some of the girls want to call her Cardigan Sweater because Kerrigan Cardigan, So if I mess up and you hear Cardigan, it's Kerrigan. Gardendale, like I said, she's been hitting the ball really well. She hit over 500 in the fall. Catcher, first base. Demi Turner. And of course this fall somebody messed up with her name and it was Demi Moore up to bat. So again, if I mess up with that, but she was one of the best athletes in the state of Texas. Her brother was a fullback in college at Sam Houston State. She got a lot of strength, but she also got the speed. And she throws right, hits left, could play second, short, or third, has led off her entire life. So she adds another, but she also has some pop. And she's hit several home runs in practice, but she's similar to a Haley. They're very, very, I don't know who would win in a race, but one's the infielder, one's the outfielder, and she's going to add a lot. And then Lexi, again, our first Corona Angel, Riverside, California, and like Leona and Leslie said, her demeanor is special as a freshman, because you wouldn't know if she struck out the side or gave up 3 home runs, and that is a rarity for a freshman, and we're really anxious to see them. And then we have Rachel Bobo and Kayla Reddick, who are going to add a lot of depth, especially for base running.
After fall ball, did y'all see any specific things y'all need to work on more? I mean, what did you get mainly out of fall ball?
I think we're getting a lot of people on base, but we need to drive those people in.
Yeah.
And we do have a lot of speed, but we need some pop behind the speed. And so one of my goals was just the 4 weeks of individuals was getting some more drive on the ball and some pop, hit some more gaps. And I think as the season goes along, obviously you're going to face one of the best pitchers in the very first game, so that's going to be tough. But the more live pitching you see and the more goes into their memory banks, it'll be easier. But the very first couple of weekends, we got some really good pitchers, and I'm just hoping for we had a lot of innings last year where we would get maybe the lead off and she'd steal second and we'd leave her at second base and it would be 1 out, 2 out, 3 out. So we have done a lot of execution, a lot of drags, a lot of sacks, a lot of slap and run, moving the runner type of thing. And we told them the other day we had an execution day where all it is the offensive executions of the small ball, the bunts, the hit and run, the slap and run. And there's a point total of 48. The combination of the 2 hitters. So if I was Leona's partner, the best we could get was 48, and the winning team had 45, which is really good for the second week of practice. So hopefully that's going to translate into some good execution in the games.
For both players, what did last year making it to the final of the World Series mean? The year before you didn't get back and all that. How important was that to reestablish quickly that you're a contender?
It was very important to us, but even though it wasn't quite the ending we wanted, but to come back from not making it the season before to making it all the way out to the final just showed the heart of that team and just the determination that we are, as a senior class this year, we're going to instill in this team. And our class was actually here in 2012 when we won it. We were the only class to be here, so we know what it takes. We learned from all those seniors and upperclassmen, and we're just trying to instill that every day in this team so we can make it back to the final and then win it this year, hopefully.
I agree with everything Leslie says. We didn't have the outcome that we wanted, but I think that just pushes us even harder because it is so a different feeling to get all the way to the end and then not have it go your way. So it's just really puts us in second gear and just makes us want it even more. And so this year we're really going to push, and I believe we can do it. I have total confidence in us, and I know the senior class has done a great job of instilling fire and passion and just eagerness and hungriness to go out in there and just dominate and get it, because we don't want to finish in second place. We want to finish first, and so this year we're going to turn it up.
How can you talk about that, watching Florida celebrate? Does that come up in conversation?
No, we don't want to talk about that. We talk about us and how it feels to not celebrate and how it is going to feel this year when we do celebrate. And all we can focus on is ourselves. We can't focus on anything we can't change. So, I mean, hey, they won it, but they're not going to win it again this year. Not taking it from us this year.
Michael, next
My money's
question.
on us.
Somebody get the mic from him.
Patrick, I think, about 3 or 4 years ago, there was a debate that maybe the Southeastern Conference was catching up with the Pac-12. I don't hear much debate about that anymore after 2 SEC teams in the finals. How do you feel about that?
I just think,
What did you think staring across at another SEC team in the finals?
well, and that and the 9 in the top 25 this year, I mean, that's unbelievable. And, I mean, there's a lot of good sports in the SEC, but right now, I'd put us up with anybody. It's obviously a southern, the sun, the weather, everything is good for that sport, softball, baseball, you're outside. But I think the athletes in this southeast region are getting better and better. And I think that's why we've gone to California to get Leona and Lexi, but we've gone to South Carolina to get Marissa and Leslie. And they're as good as anybody else in the country. And I think those kids in Mississippi, we've got our first Mississippian coming next year, our first Arkansas kid coming next year. We've got we've tried to get the best kids from the South. And a lot of the other schools have done the same thing. There's just a lot of good talent in the Southeast region that now can stay home and beat anybody. So I just think the level of play, the level of coaching, the commitment of the schools is much, much greater in the SEC.
Leona being from the West Coast, what do you think?
I think, like Murph said, the athletes out here are just crazy good. It's like so different too, and like you can see it in the stature. Like when we played against Oregon, like you could just see the difference. Like I mean, I don't know what they focus on in the weight room, but like with us, we focus more on benching and like we're bigger, I guess, how do you say it? But I think the athletes out here, like both are good, but I just think out here it's fast and it's strong. And it's hard to find that in both when you're, like some people are just speed, but like here in the Southeastern Conference, it's like speed and strength. So that's what I think is the difference. But I think both sides are good.
And, one of the things I told Michelle Diltz, our strength coach, is every year I want to lead the country in home runs and stolen bases. And, you think of a home run hitter, you think of big, powerful, slow, not a Haley McClenny who can steal 40 bases, but she can also hit 15 home runs. So we've got some really good athletes. Leona's a great athlete. She never played first base until she got to college, and she's already a great first baseman. So we've tried to recruit athletes first, and then put them on the field where they fit in the puzzle, and then wherever they fit in the lineup. But I think our collection of athletes, and it's unreal because I thought 5 years ago we were good, and 5 years before that I thought we were good, but we've gotten better athletically every year. And this year when I announced the team Saturday night at the trivia night, I think there was 8 kids that I would say, Callie Case, utility player from Suwanee, Georgia. I didn't have a position behind her name. She was a utility player. Jaden was, Callie was, Marissa was. Chandler Dare, who's from Mountainville, can play 6 positions very well. It's shocking how good she looks at second, third, and short. And just the athletic ability, like Leona said, is awesome here. I mean, wherever you look, there's an athlete. And it used to not be that way. You could either run or you could hit for power, but you couldn't do both. And if you were playing center field, that was it. You weren't going to come to second base or third base. There's no way. And now we have multi-position athletes everywhere.
For both players, you get used to it, I guess, where maybe it doesn't amaze you, but how often does Haley do something in practice that you just say?
She's not even that good. She's not even that good. I put Leslie out there over her.
I mean, every day Haley does something spectacular. Like when we do BP, pitchers, we run polls during BP, and I'll be running by her, and she'll make a diving catch, leaping like it's like she stops in midair and catches a ball, and it's just every day. And it gets to the point now where we're like, all right, Haley, we know you're that good. But she's very good, and I think she's one of the best center fielders to ever play the game, and I'm just very honored to get to play with her. And she's just, every day she'll do something like rob a home run or just screaming and yelling. You don't know where she is, but you can hear her. So she's a great player and a phenomenal teammate.
Yeah, not only is she good, she's one of the hardest workers, which usually doesn't go hand in hand. And I'd say she's the best outfielder in the country, regardless of age. Just period, the best outfielder. And if you guys haven't seen her, you guys need to come to a game. One game, because she'll make a diving play or she'll throw a runner out at third or home. She's amazing. You know, she doesn't rest on her accolades. She's busted her butt all year long to be better. And Allie will come to me probably once a month and say, okay, I got to do something else. You know, she raises the bar, and she goes up. And she has to come up with a new drill to, you know, keep her going. And there's absolutely no jealousy or envy on the team, which is really cool, because everybody knows she's good. And I always say, wouldn't you rather have her in crimson and white than on the other side? Just be happy that she's in an Alabama uniform and she's on our team. Because I know she wouldn't want to pitch to her, and I certainly wouldn't want to have her in center field on another team. So we celebrate how good she is, and be glad that she's wearing Alabama.
Is it tough for you to not overthink, especially what she can do with the bat versatility-wise, to just let her be your best hitter if that's what she is, rather than say, oh, she can do this?
I know. And, you know, this morning was the coaching staff. I give them a piece of paper and I say, okay, give me your lineup Thursday night. Who's it going to be? And obviously she's in the leadoff spot, but she could also hit 1, 2, 3. I don't know about 4, but she could hit the first 3 easily. And I think this year, there was a couple at-bats last year where she'd attempt to drag, pull it back. The next pitch would be she'd swing, and then the third pitch she'd slap. Well, that's too much. You know, that's overthinking it. So I think she's going to go in with a clear mind and say, this is what I'm going to do. And depending on the situation, you know, she'll hit, she'll drag, or she'll slap. I can't wait to see everybody at a game, though. It's going to be fun. We got a great schedule, and like I said, just some really, really good athletes. I think you guys enjoy it if you haven't been out. But thanks for coming today.
Thank you.